Hi, this is Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours, and thank you so much for being here for our Saturday live stream. This live stream is all about you. We're going to be answering your questions about moving to and living in Panama. While we're waiting for a few more people to get in here, where they're just now coming in, I'm going to give a little bit of background for the benefit of those that are new to our channel. First of all, if you're new, thank you so much for being here. And if you're coming back as our regular on a Saturday, then thank you so much for being coming back again. My name's Jackie Lang, the owner of Panama Relocation Tours. In 2010, we started Panama Relocation Tours to offer all-inclusive 6-day tours to take you all across Panama to show you what this beautiful country is like in the city, in the beach areas, in the mountains, in the colonial towns, everywhere, to help you decide if Panama is the right place for you. While we're doing a tour, it's like a rolling seminar because we're teaching you all the things you need to do to have a smooth, hassle-free move to Panama. We also offer something called our online guide, which is like a home study course about moving to Panama. You can get more details about all of those things on our website at panamarelocationtours.com. And one more announcement before we get started. I just checked because sometimes people ask during the tour, when do we have our next opening for a tour? And I just checked before this got started. Our tours are completely sold out until July the 19th, with the exception of we have a couple of openings for the May 31st through the May 7th tour. You can go to our website again, panamarelocationtours.com. If you click on the tours tab, you can see more information about the tour. And then if you click on book a tour, you can reserve your seat for a tour. But we only have a few seats left for that May 31st through June 7th tour. And after that, we're going to be sold out until July the 19th. So grab your seat while you can on the Panama Relocation Tour. And just to tell you how this works for our Retire in Panama Q&A call, we've been doing this since 2010. We used to do conference calls that would sometimes last a couple of hours, but I switched over to live stream at the request of my kids, thought that I should do a live stream instead of the conference calls. So the way it's going to work, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to just click on your name and unmute your line like I could with a conference call. Instead, in the chat window, you're going to have to type in your question, and you have to put 3 question marks in front of it so that I know that you have a question, because there's a lot of conversation that's going on over there in the chat room that may have nothing to do with a question for me. You guys are just hanging out every Saturday like you usually do. We have people that come here every Saturday, and they have for years and years and years. And we love that. But if you have a question for me, you'll need to type 3 question marks in front of your question. And then I'll be able to answer your question for you. I'll pop it up on the screen and I'll answer it live. So if anybody has a question, you can type 3 question marks in front of your question, and then I'll pop it up on the screen. Just a couple of other things that you guys, we get a lot of questions about that you might want to know. We have a presidential election coming up on the 5th of May, and they'll determine by the 6th of May, we're going to know who our new president is going to be, and they'll take office on the 1st of July. So a lot of people have said, are they going to make any changes to the visas? The pensionado visas are going to go away, or any other visas going to be changed? Well, the answer is we don't know, because we don't even know who our president's going to be. And I can tell you that it's not a priority for them to make changes to immigration. There's other things that are much more important and more pressing here in Panama. I doubt seriously there would be any changes to the pensionado visa. The other visas, there could be some changes, but it's not going to happen like instantly whenever we get our new president. So you don't have to worry about any changes right away. So that's a question that we get quite a bit, and I wanted to address that. Once we do get our new president, I've been researching all of the candidates, and I'll have a special live stream to talk about the background of the new president, what his proposals are or her proposals are, and all of those things. So let me get to some of our questions here. One from Gail. It says, are there any compounding pharmacies in Cherokee or David possibly? I'm not aware. I've done a Google search for people of compounding pharmacies. I haven't even found any compound pharmacies in Panama City. That's not to say that there aren't some compound pharmacies, but Google has not shown any kind of results for compounding pharmacy in Panama. Perhaps at a hospital pharmacy, they may be able to do special, and this is a private hospital pharmacy. They may be able to do some special compounding for you, but I'm not sure. You might want to contact one of the Panama doctors that we recommend in our online Panama Relocation Guide, and they could give you a little bit more guidance about that. So another question from Susie. I plan to retire in 2 years and want to live in a small, remote beach town. My son and his family want to move too, but need to be close to private schools. Would the Las Tablas area work for both of us? So the Las Tablas area, first of all, Las Tablas is not a remote beach town. It's a colonial town that's about 10 or 15-minute drive to the closest beach. As far as a private school, I'm not aware of any in the Las Tablas area. I know that it's not exactly a remote town, but you might want to look at Gorgona instead. Gorgona has a really good private school called the Pacific Coast International Schools, or PCIS. We actually have a video of a family that has some children in that school. And there are parts of Gorgona that are a little bit more away from other areas. Another area to consider would be Chame, Chame. I have an article coming out about Chame soon. There are no international schools there, but you could drive to the school in Gorgona if you lived in Chame. Chame is definitely more of a off the beaten path kind of a place. And a question from Annie. Jackie, are you aware of any active wildfires in Panama? Have there been one in the highlands and Boquete? Nope, I'm not aware of any wildfires. You know, there's a fire once in a while, but it's usually a controlled burn that a farmer started to burn their field before they plant again, but I'm not aware of any wildfires. And Bruce wants to know, we hear that there will be protests in early May resulting in road closures in the West. Is this true? So there have been threats of protest, you know, every single month. It seems like there's a threat of a protest. We were supposed to have one last Friday, but it never happened. And a lot of times there's threats or talks of a protest, but they never happen. We have, if you've been on a tour or if you buy our online Panama Relocation Guide, we have a private Facebook group. And in that private Facebook group, I monitor the news in Panama all the time. And if there's any news about a protest that's going to happen, I put the information in there to let you know to stock up, you know, get some, fill up your car with gas, get some extra protein, get your medications, get food for you and your pets. So you can just be prepared so you're not caught off guard. But there's always threats, but they rarely happen. So coming on the May 31st tour, thank you so much. We have a documentary film company in the U.S. Which visa do we need since videos can be made of Panama but sold outside of Panama? So I would suggest that you go with a friendly nation visa where you set up a corporation and the corporation hires you. That would probably be the most cost-effective visa. It would cost, the total initial costs are going to be $5,000 to $6,000. It takes 2 years before you can apply for your permanent visa. The total overall cost is about $10,000. And you can add your spouse and minor children to that visa as well. So Friendly Nation visa. If you go to our website and in the upper right-hand corner, if you search for 4 ways to get a Friendly Nation visa, we have some information about it right there. And Tina says, are we able to get our used driver license authenticated in David rather than Panama City? Oh, no, you can't. For authentication of your driver's license, it's not possible to get it done in David. because you have to go to the U.S. Embassy or the Canadian Embassy or the German Embassy to get your license authenticated, and all those embassies are in Panama City. So that's why you have to go to Panama City. If you want to avoid going to Panama City to get your Panama driver's license, then you can go to driving school instead, where you pay about $70 to $100 for a school certificate. You don't even go to class. They'll give you a study guide. You take a written test in English, and then you have to take a physical driving test, to show that you can parallel park and pull in and out of a parking space and things like that. All those things can be done in David, but for getting your license, and you don't have to get your license authenticated if you do the driving school route instead. And Terry wants to know, when moving from one place to another, are there pickup trucks or vans available for hire? Yes, there's pickup trucks. There's some moving companies. There's always people that can recommend a moving company. So yes, you're going to be able to get moved from one place to another. And many people do move from one place to another when they move to Panama. They usually stay one place for 6 months or a year, then they go try another place for a little while. And my next question is from Dan. What do you think are priorities for the next president? So, I try to stay as an expat. We're supposed to stay out of Panama politics. But my personal opinions on what the priorities are going to be are jobs, 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 just like any place. But especially Panama, we're still kind of recovering from the whole pandemic thing, and then the mine closures happened. So what they need to do is they need to get some projects started, like build some new bridges, build some new hospitals, build some new schools, build some new roads, but do some things that are going to create jobs. And then that's going to be the thing that will help the economy the most. So I think that's the number one thing that they should focus on. But we'll see. We'll see who the new president is. I can't wait to see, actually. I'm looking forward to it. By the way, everybody, I forgot to introduce Debbie Klappa. It says Chuck and Debbie for the name, but it's actually Debbie Klappa is on here. She's our moderator. She's here every Saturday to just because I can't see what all is going on with 323 people on our live stream. I can't see all the conversations that are going on. So thank you, Debbie, for being here to moderate the live stream. So Chuck wants to know, what are the pros and cons of Santa Fe? So I've been to Santa Fe several times, and it's absolutely beautiful in Santa Fe. The pros are that it's beautiful. It's beautiful mountain views, waterfalls, that it's not overrun with expats like some other places are. So I would say those are the pros. The cons are that there's really nothing there. There's a couple of restaurants. There's a couple of Chino stores, which are like a little 7-Eleven kind of stores. But for most things like a grocery store, buying some new tennis shoes, seeing a doctor, going to hospital, any of those things, you're going to have to drive into Santiago, which is more than an hour drive to get into Santiago. So those are the pros and the cons about Santa Fe. It's a nice place to visit. Some people like being a bit isolated. It wouldn't be for me. And for some people, it's perfect. For some people, it wouldn't work. A lawyer says anyone who is a resident can have a work permit, and they have got them for pensionado holders. Or thoughts? Well, the immigration law, some attorneys might say that to try to take your money. But the law says that pensionado holders are supposed to be retirees and not take jobs away from Panamanians. So pensionado visa holders are not supposed to be getting a work permit. Greetings from Pinehurst, North Carolina. Thank you, Jackie, for doing these talks. Question: we have a six-year-old spayed pit bull mix. She's short but muscular. Will she be welcome in Panama? Diane, she's going to absolutely be welcome in Panama. There's a lot of pit bulls here. They're very popular dogs here. But the problem could be getting her on an airline to get her here. Some commercial airlines have restrictions on pit bulls. So the first step is going to be finding an airline that will allow her to get into Panama. I do know one couple that they just couldn't find an airline to fly directly into Panama. So instead, they flew Avianca into San Jose, Costa Rica. And then they had a driver from Panama that met them in San Jose that got them over to Panama to bring their dog in because they just couldn't find a commercial airline. The other alternative would be to hire a pet relocation company, but you're looking at about $3,000, maybe more, for a pet relocation company to get your fur baby here, or to charter a flight, which is $25,000. Hopefully you could find someone to split those costs with you or several people. Panama welcomes them, but the commercial airlines are the problem. Patricia says, so do permanent residents get to vote? No, foreigners cannot vote in Panama. Only a citizen can vote in Panama, and they have to show their ID card to prove that they're a citizen. They also put some special ink on their hand that doesn't disappear for several days, so that shows that they voted, so people don't vote more than once, and you have to show up to vote. So it's a different situation for voting here, and everybody is glued to the news and the radio to see what the statistics are on who's ahead in the election. Can we open a Panama bank account before applying for a pensionado visa? It would be almost impossible for you to apply for a bank account before applying for your pensionado visa unless you had a letter from your immigration attorney that said you've sent in your paperwork and you're in the process of getting ready to apply for a pensionado visa. Then you should be able to get a bank account open, but without that letter from your attorney, it would be pretty much impossible. And Terry wants to know, if I move down there from Canada, how do Canadians move their money down there? What's the best way to change my pension amount into American money and then obtain it into Panama? So there's several different ways, Terry, that you can get access to your Canadian money. One way is to open up a Panama bank account. And then once you have the Panama bank account, you can just wire your money into your Panama bank account. Until you get that bank account open, if you have a debit card from your Canadian bank, you can use your debit card in the, you can use your debit card at any ATM machine to get access to cash. However, you need to know that you can only get $250 US, and it costs now $6.80 to get $250. So you want to get that Panama bank account open as quickly as possible and then just wire the money. And Monique wants to know, what is the coolest area around Boquete? I was surprised how hot it was whenever I was there in March. So the coolest area is going to be the area with the highest elevation. If you're in downtown Boquete, it's only at about 3,000, 3,500 feet. When I lived on Volcancito Road, my house was at almost 5,000 feet. So it was much cooler than it was in downtown Boquete. So the coolest area would be living in like Alto Kiel, which is at 5,000, 6,000 feet, or Jaramillo Arriba, which is up high, Volcancito Arriba, up high. So any place where you're above 4,000, 5,000 foot elevation is where it's going to be cooler. You have to be careful because people say, Boquete, I want to live in Boquete. Well, there's a lot of different elevations. If you live in Los Molinos, it's only about 1,800 feet. So it's going to be hot. If you live in Boquete Canyon Village, close to Caldera, it's part of Boquete, but it's only at 1,800 feet. So it's going to be warm. Downtown Boquete, 3,000 feet. So it's much warmer than it is up in the highlands. The general rule is at sea level, it's about 90 degrees Fahrenheit plus or minus 5. For every 1,000 foot increase in elevation, the temperature drops 4 degrees. So you can pick your ideal temperature based on the elevation. So next question from Patricia. Are the temperatures in Chitri as hot as the temperatures in David? The temperatures are not quite as hot in Chitri as it is in David, but it's very similar. It's going to be in the mid 80s to low 90s in Chitre. The only difference is that in David, it's not quite as humid in Chitre as it is in David, so it's going to feel a little bit hotter in David than it is in Chitre. But the temperature is about the same. Once again, you go by that formula. Sea level is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So check the elevation of David's basically at sea level also. So check the elevation of any of the cities to figure out what the temperature is going to be approximately. And Doug wants to know, I'm headed to Panama in July. We're wanting to visit Costa Rica. Any advice? So if you want to visit Costa Rica also, my advice would be either take a bus from David, it's called a Tica bus, over to Costa Rica and go that way, or fly from Panama City to Costa Rica and then Panama. But as far as driving to Costa Rica, you can't take a rental car into Costa Rica, so that wouldn't work. I would say take the bus is the best way. And Rudy wants to know, can you still rent a U.S. standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Boquete for under $1,000 a month? If not, what to expect for $1,000? So you can rent, I don't know what U.S. standard is, but you can rent a very comfortable 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Boquete for $1,000 to $1,200 a month. For less than $1,000, it would be a little bit harder to find that. For example, the house I moved not long ago, I sold my house in the farm I had on Boquete last year, and I've just been renting in a couple of different places since then. I'm renting a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with 2 living areas, and one of the living areas could be made into a 3rd bedroom. And it has granite countertops, dishwasher, beautiful mountain views, all those things, and I'm paying $1,000 a month, and that includes all my utilities and a gardener once a week. So it's definitely possible. You're not going to get that price in a gated community, but if you go to Alto Boquete, the prices are more affordable than Baja Boquete or downtown. By the way, for those of you that are just tuned in and you're wondering, how in the world can I ask a question? You need to type your question into the chat window, and you must put 3 question marks in front of it for me to know that you have a question. There's a lot of conversation that's going on over on the side, and I don't know if those are questions for me or not, because I'm just getting through as many questions as I can as quickly as possible. So you have to put 3 question marks in front of your question, and then I can click on it, pop it up on the screen, and I'll be glad to answer it for you. So John wants to know, we'll be on the June 21st tour and looking for suggestions of specific areas for private tours. We like Boquete and Vulcan. We want Highland, but hour to the beach. How are the services in Valle de Anton? So, you're not going to know which specific areas that you want to do a private tour until you actually see the areas. When you see Boquete, you may change your mind and say, not for me. There were some people just a few weeks ago that they were in Chitre for a while. They decided they wanted to move up to the highlands into cooler weather. They thought Boquete was the place they wanted to move to. They came here and they said, not for me, but they went over to Vulcan and it was perfect. And one of the restaurants we go to, they helped them find a rental. They're moving on May the 15th. So congratulations to them. But you might think you want to be in Boquete, you might change your mind when you see it. You might think you want to be in Vulcan, but you'll change your mind when you see it. So as far as services for Valle de Anton, it's a beautiful town. It has really good roads, fantastic sidewalks. And if you're on one side of town, the services as far as electricity and internet are much better than if you are on the other side of the town. I lived in a Valle. I was planning to live there for a year. I lived there for about a month, and I had to move because I had too many problems with the power outages. But I was on the wrong side of town for the power outages. Beautiful area, but you have to make sure you're on the right side of town. And Jenna wants to know, are rental prices increasing as more Americans are retiring there? So rental prices in some areas have certainly gone up, but in other areas, I've actually seen rental prices coming down. One of the reasons for that is we have what we call the snowbird invasion, which happens about every December and lasts until about the end of April. It's when a lot of Canadians and people from northern U.S. states come to Panama, and they stay here to get away from the cold weather up north. But whenever they leave, all of a sudden there's this huge inventory of rental properties that are available. And hint, hint, that's the best time to come and get a rental property. If you come at the end of April, May, or June, there's going to be a lot of inventory. The prices are much lower. And all the landlords are going to be very negotiable because they're sitting there on an empty rental. And I missed a question up here. The $200 discount when you buy the guide before booking a tour, is it $200 per person when two people are coming for the tour? It's a $200 discount off the price of the tour. Whether it's one person or two people, you get $200 off the tour if you've already bought the online guide. So next question, if I apply for the pensionado visa and have my wife as a dependent, do we both stay in Panama until the visa is granted? No, it's not necessary. This is how it works when you get your pensionado visa. You'll both need to come to Panama. You'll both need your national criminal report. You'll need an income verification for the pensionado visa that shows your combined pension is at least $1,250 US. And then you'll need to be in Panama for about 5 business days for you to get your residency visa. And then you can leave Panama. You don't have to stay here. You can leave Panama. Your immigration attorney will let you know when your permanent visa is ready, which could be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, might be as much as 6 months. But your immigration attorney will let you know when your permanent visa is ready. And then you can come back to Panama to get your permanent visa. However, you need to know that you don't have to rush back to Panama right away. Your immigration attorney will get a document that says it's a resolution that your pensionado visa was approved. So with that resolution, there's no rush for you to get back to Panama. Your attorney can't pick up a visa card for you. Only you can pick that up because they'll take a new picture of you. But 2 months, 3 months, 6 months after you get the resolution, you should come back to get your permanent visa, and you may want to get your Sedula or your national ID card at the same time. But you don't have to stay in Panama. If I book a tour, when do I get access to the guide? I want to apply for a pensionado visa. When can I get there? So whenever you book a tour, you're going to get access to the online guide after your tour. You're also going to get access to our private Facebook group where we offer ongoing support. It's a lively group. I share information about really great rental deals that I find, house sitting opportunities, any news about protests, specials that are happening in different places. So you'll get that right after your tour. And then if you want to apply for a pensionado visa when you get here, well, there's not going to be time, William, for you to apply for your visa during the tour because we're going to keep you busy every single day during that tour. But if you come a week early, or even better, stay a week after the tour, then you can apply for your pensionado visa. A month before your tour, we'll give you all the attorney information so you can pick the attorney you want to work with, start gathering your documents, and you can go ahead and get those authenticated or apostilled and send them to your attorney so everything's ready whenever you get there. One of the immigration attorneys that we work with, a couple came in to Panama City to get their pensionado visa. Their attorney picked them up at 8:30. They were back at their hotel by 9:30 on the same day, and they had their visa. Just like that. It was so fast. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but if you have a really good attorney, then it's going to happen very, very quickly. So Patricia says, do you have to have a passport to visit Panama? Yes, you do have to have a passport. It has to be valid. It can't be an expired passport for you to visit Panama. For you to get on any kind of an international flight to anywhere in the world, you're going to need a passport. So Kelly Says, hi, Jackie. I plan on driving from the Azuera to Volcan on Monday. Any update on the planned road blockage? So the road blockage was planned for last Friday, and it never happened. So I've been following the news, and I haven't seen any news about any other protests that are going to happen. And I've talked to my Panamanian friends about what do they think about this, and they say with the election just around the corner on May the 5th, there's no way that the government is going to allow them to protest because it's going to make their party look bad. That's what they say. We'll see. How do you renew your driver's license? So if you're less than 70, you can actually renew your driver's license right online without, they're going to do the vision test, hearing test, everything right online. You can do it online. If you're 70 or older, you're going to have to get a doctor's letter that says you're fit to be driving on the road. And then you can go into the office to get your driver's license renewed, or you can renew it online. But you do have to get that doctor's letter also, and you can just upload that to their system. So let me get to some other questions here. Thank you for all the questions, everybody. Even if you don't ask a question, I know you're learning something new, and that's what this is all about, is to educate you about moving to and living in Panama. Any updates on the mine closure? Has there been a fallout related to that? So the mine is closed. There was a resolution that said no mining can happen in Panama. And of course, there's been a lawsuit that was filed by the mining company against Panama, but no fallout. I think I already answered that question. New diagnosis on a new med, Eliquis. Do you know if anyone has asked about price of Eliquis in Panama to someone? So this is what you need to do. The crazy is strong. There's the biggest pharmacy in Panama is called Arrocha, Arrocha. So if you go to arrocha.com, there's a place there where you can put in the name of any drug, and it will tell you if it's available and how much it costs. If it says not available, it doesn't mean that it's not available in Panama. It just means that Arrocha doesn't carry it. So you may have to contact some of the hospital pharmacies to see if it's available there. But if Arrocha doesn't have it, Arrocha would probably have it. So check there, Arrocha, ARROCHA.com. Okay. Jerry wants to know, how long can I stay in Panama without a visa? So Jerry, it depends on which country you're from. If you're from North America, US or Canada, then you can stay in Panama for 180 days without a visa. However, you need to know that you're only going to be able to drive for the first 90 days that you're in Panama. So public transportation is readily available. Daniel says, going to spend 1 month in the Azuera Peninsula in May. From 1 month, any suggestions on the amount of money that I should take? So Jerry, you should know that many places are going to take a credit card. Grocery stores will take a credit card. Many restaurants will take a credit card. I would suggest you bring about $500 cash with you. But for most things, you're going to be able to use a credit card. And if you need additional cash, you can always use your debit card at any of the ATM machines here in Panama. And not a question, just want to say, Jackie, it was nice meeting you last week on tour number 239. Everyone, please take the tour. Absolutely, take our tour. You'll come home and start planning your move and get off the fence. Thank you so much. It was nice to meet everybody. Whenever you come on a Panama relocation tour or whenever you buy the online guide, then we have this, what we call PRT, or Panama Relocation Tour meetups or get-togethers that happen once a month, and they're happening simultaneously at different places all across the country. So we had one going on in Panama City at the same time it was happening in Boquete, at the same time it was happening in Coronado and Bocas and other places. And it's a great chance for you to meet with people that have come on a tour previously and already moved to Panama. A great place to, after you've moved here, you'll run into some of the people you came on a tour with, and you'll be like long lost friends that you're seeing each other all over again. It's just a great way to meet people. So it was great, nice to meet you, and thanks for your comment. So Michael, where they have $16 watermelons, are called sandia in Panama, as do we each have to have our own corporation to get the friendly nation visa with a work permit, or can you share? So if you're married, if you're legally married, you can share one corporation. If you're not married, or common law marriage, you have to get 2 separate friendly nation visas and 2 separate work permits. So it might be a good reason, if you're not married, to get married, to save some money and get one corporation, but you'll each get your own work permit. Let me get a little drink. All this talking, my throat gets dry. So Kevin wants to know, greetings, Jackie and Debbie. Our recent tour answered all of our questions. A few friends want to know how much are private tours. So if you go to our website at Panama Relocation Tours, and in the upper right-hand corner, type in private tours, you can see more details about it. A private tour is going to be about $200 to $250 a day for 2 people. It doesn't include your hotels. It includes, ground transportation, includes picking you up at your Airbnb or hotel in the town. Usually also includes picking you up at the nearest airport. So if you were doing one in Boquete, they'd pick you up in David Airport. And all the information also includes lunch, but you're on your own for your hotel. If you ask the private tour guides if they can do an all-inclusive tour, which includes your hotel, dinner, and everything, many of them will be glad to accommodate you for that for a little bit more money. To film in Panama but release products in the U.S., do we need a work permit? So if you're filming in Panama but releasing the products in the United States, I wouldn't think that you're going to need a work permit for that. However, if you're not selling, the whole thing about getting a work permit is if you're selling any products in Panama, selling any services in Panama, then you need a work permit. But if you're not selling products or services in Panama, then you don't need a work permit. Lynn wants to know, can you practice as a therapist without a license? You cannot. Therapist, there's a lot of professions in Panama that are protected professions for Panamanians only. A therapist is one of those. And we actually have an article about getting a professional visa, which if you have a college degree that's a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or a PhD, then you may be able to get a residency visa with that, so long as your degree is not in one of the protected professions. The reason I bring that up is if you go to our article about a professional visa, you can see a list, and we have a link to all of the different protected professions, and there's a lot of them. Hola. Follow up on an earlier question. I've heard that some type of local permit has to be obtained for moving personal effects from one location to another. You don't have to have a permit, but you do have to have a manifest. So if you have to have a list of all the things that you're moving, especially if someone else is moving it for you, they have to have a manifest, and with a signed authorization says, I authorize so-and-so to move my personal items from one place to another. Otherwise, the police might think it's all stolen products. But if you have a manifest, you don't have to worry about it. Rudy says, can we get a pensionado visa without moving to Panama? Yes, you can. You have to come to Panama to get the pensionado visa. But once you get the pensionado visa, there's no requirement to live in Panama. You only have to come back at least for 1 day every 2 years to maintain your pensionado visa, but there's no requirement to move here. That's why Panama makes the perfect place to set up a plan B. we don't know. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world, and you don't know what the future holds. So it's a good idea to go ahead and get your residency visa while you can, because we don't know when the rules are going to change for things. And so if you have that visa, then if things change real quickly where you live, then you've got a place to go to. Or if you know that you're going to be retiring in 5 years, but you qualify now for the pensionado visa, you could go ahead and get it now and get it out of the way, because we don't know what the rules are going to be 5 years from now. So for the Friendly Nation visa, can we deposit the $200,000 and not incorporate with the U.S. LLC? So to get the Friendly Nation visa, there's 4 ways to get the Friendly Nation visa. One way to get the Friendly Nation visa is to get a job offer from a Panamanian company here in Panama. Another way to get the Friendly Nation visa is to buy real estate worth at least $200,000. Now, these are the rules today. It can change after we get a new president. But by $200,000 worth of real estate in Panama, there's no need to have it in a corporation. Another way to get the Friendly Nation visa is to deposit $200,000 into a Panama bank into a 3-year CD. Minimum interest you're going to earn on that is 3.5%. Some are paying 4.5%, 5% interest. So you can shop around and go with the bank that's going to pay the highest interest on your CD. The 4th way to get a Friendly Nation visa, remember I mentioned that you could get a job offer from a Panama corporation. So if you were to set up a Panama corporation, a special corporation, not just any corporation, then that corporation were to issue you a job offer in a labor contract, then you can get a Friendly Nation visa that way. We have information about all of those things in our online Panama Relocation Guide. It also contains a list of many different immigration attorneys that we work with that offer substantial discounts for our clients to get the Friendly Nation visa or the pensionado visa. Is it very hot and humid in Panama City as well? In my opinion, yes, it's very hot and very humid in Panama City. The reason it's at sea level. So anytime you're at sea level, it's going to be about 90 degrees plus or minus 5. The closer you are to water, and Panama City is surrounded by water, the more humid it's going to be. The further you are away from the water, the less humid it's going to be. So the Azuara Peninsula is still warm because it's only like many of it's at sea level or maybe 500 feet, but it gets less rain. And if you're in Las Tablas or Chitri, you're further away from the ocean, so it's going to be less humid. It also gets less rain in the Azuara Peninsula. So Scott wants to know, can you work as a digital nomad on a tourist visa and do 4 question mark question, get priority over 3 question mark questions? No, I just need to see some question marks to know that it's a question, but thanks for asking that. If you put in 4 question marks, it's not going to help any more than 3. So you can work as a digital nomad with just being a tourist. There is no tourist visa. There's no visa that you get as a tourist. When a tourist comes to Panama, you get a stamp in your passport. When you come in, you have to leave within 180 days of that stamp. So you get a stamp in your passport. There's no visa that's issued. You can certainly work as a digital nomad while you're in Panama doing remote work, but you're not going to be able to sell any of your products or services in Panama as a tourist. So you're not going to be able to offer your services to build websites or to do SEO or to do other things like that for people that live in Panama, but you can always do things for people outside of Panama. There's a great website called Upwork.com, and it has all kinds of remote work opportunities. You might want to check that out. So, hi, Jackie, this is Kevin. Is it true that for the Friendly Nation visa that I can bring my parents to Panama by investing another $2,000 for each of them when I deposit my 3-year CD? It is not true that you can bring your parents. You can bring your minor children and your legal spouse, but as far as your parents being added to that Friendly Nation visa, that's not going to be possible unless you're their legal guardian. If they're disabled and you're their legal guardian, you have documents to prove that, then you could add your parents. But in most cases, they're going to have to get their own visa. Your parents would probably qualify for the pensionado visa, and they can get that one. Super easy for 2 people. They only need to prove that they have $1,250 a month in lifetime income, and they can get a pensionado visa. Patricia wants to know, do auto brokers assist with the purchase of a motorcycle? Not interested in Harleys or other type of yes, the auto broker or the car brokers, they can help you with the purchase of a motorcycle as well. Lynn wants to know, are the rents still high in Panama City? Actually, rents have come way down in Panama City. You can get a really nice 2-bedroom apartment that's furnished for $1,000 or less in Panama City. Rents are cheaper in Panama City than they are in Boquete. That's why some people in Boquete have moved to Panama City, because their rents are more affordable. They have access to the best hospitals in the country. Public transportation with the subway or the metro buses are readily available, and some amazing restaurants too. And a question from Tracy. Can a pensionado retiree visa holder open a business to sell a product and hire Panamanian employees? So a pensionado visa holder can definitely own a business. You just can't work in your business. You'd have to hire someone, either a Panamanian who doesn't need a work permit, or somebody that has a work permit to work in the business or sell the products. For example, if you wanted to open a restaurant, you could open up the restaurant and you could hire people to cook, hire people to take the orders, hire people to check them out, hire people to be bartenders. You just couldn't do any of those functions yourself. When budgeting to get a used car through a broker, how much should I set aside for a highly reliable 5-year-old car? I would suggest about $10,000 would be a price that you could get a 5-year-old car for. ABC says, I'm a Panamanian married to an American living in the U.S. Can I renew my Panama passport when I visit Panama? If so, how long does it take? Actually, you can renew your Panama passport before you even come to Panama. Just go or contact the closest Panama consulate to you that's in the United States, and you can renew your passport right then and there. You could also do it in Panama, but you don't have to wait. You can go ahead and do it there. See, I did that question already. Let me scoot down here a little bit, just some more. Ron says, hello, first-time visitor in about a month along with my wife and baby. Can you tell me if Congrejo has monthly rentals for $700 or so? So in Panama City is a unique situation in that there's a requirement that for rentals, it has to be a minimum of 45 days just for a regular rental. However, there's some hotel apartments that you can rent for a week or a couple of days or for a month. So it doesn't have the 45-day minimum. So in El Congrejo, there is a hotel that's called Coral Suites, and it's like a little apartment. It has a kitchen, has all those things that are available, and there you can rent by the month for about $700. But for most rentals in Panama, it has to be a minimum of 45 days. What should I expect to pay for a 1 or 2 bedroom in Boquete approximately? So you can get a 1-bedroom apartment in Boquete for anywhere from $450 furnished with all utilities included to $1,500 with all utilities included and furnished. So the price is big in Panama, but just know that on the low end, it's going to be about $450. And then depending on where you live, it could be much, much more. By the way, I know of 2 1-bedroom apartments that are $450 furnished with everything included. I know of a 2-bedroom that's furnished with all utilities included for $650 a month. So if you want information about that, just send an email to info@PanamaRelocationTours.com after this live stream, and I'll be glad to give you the information of the property manager so that you can check it out. So one of the things, a couple of things I would like to remind you guys about, because I know some of you got here a little bit later. Two things. One, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 40,000 subscribers, hopefully this year. So hopefully you can help us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and that would help us a lot. And you're also, by doing that, you're going to get updates about new videos that we posted. We just did a video shoot in Panama City, a hospital tour, some interviews of people that had emergency situations that happened at a hospital. So we've got that interview. There's an area in Panama City called Clayton. We have a new video coming out about that. Did 2 days of video shooting and a couple of testimonial videos from a tour that happened a couple of weeks ago. We also have new video coming out about Chitre, new video coming out about Panama. So if you subscribe to our channel, you're going to be the first one to know about those new videos and when they're uploaded. The other thing I wanted to let everyone know is that Panama Relocation Tours, we've been doing tours since 2010, and we're sold out for our tours until the middle of July, with the exception of we have an opening for the May 31st through the June 7th tour. We have 3 openings for that tour. So if you're interested in coming to see Panama and see how amazing life is here and how you can really live better for less, I encourage you to come on a Panama Relocation Tour. Grab those seats for the May 31st, and you won't be disappointed. Now let me get to some other questions. My spouse qualifies for a pensionado visa, but I'm not yet 60. Can I still get the pensionado visa? So there's not really an age restriction. You have to be at least 18 years old to get a pensionado visa. So if your spouse qualifies, and if your spouse's pension is at least $1,250, then you can both get the pensionado visa. Now, you're technically not going to be able to get any of the pensionado discounts until you turn 60, but I can tell you that a lot of places, they'll just give it to you. So yes, you can get it. I've heard that Boquete is having noise issues and the locals aren't happy. Will they pass a noise ordinance? So it's unlikely. There's already a noise ordinance. There's a cutoff on how many decibels that the sound can be for this live music that people have. I think people completely ignore that. There's also a cutoff time on when the loud music has to stop, but I don't think it's going to happen. The best thing to do, and this is all in the downtown Boquete area, the best thing to do if you don't like noise, if you like peace and quiet, don't live downtown. Don't live right next to where the live music is. Don't live next to the fairgrounds. Don't live next to the restaurants that have live music 3 nights a week, loud live music 3 nights a week. So if you don't like loud music, just don't live there. There's plenty of other places to live to be away from all of that. So Angela says, Angela and Jay from tour number 233, we're coming next month to get our temporary visa. Thank you. That's so exciting. Can we get our Sedula once we get our permanent visa in David, or do you have to get that in Panama City? So you can get your temporary visa and your permanent visa in David or in Panama City or any immigration office. But for the Sedula, you have to apply for it in Panama City. And then about 7 days later, they can deliver it to wherever you are. So if you applied for it in Panama City, you can pick it up in David. If you apply for it in Panama City, pick it up in Boquete or Boquete or Las Tablas or Chitre or anywhere. You don't get the card immediately. You just do the application. Then it's about 7 days later is when you actually get the national ID card that's called a Sedula. And Brenda, if I have a pension visa, will I have to pay import tax on my car if I drive in? So yes, if you have a pensionado visa, you still have to pay an import tax on your car if you drive in. It's really not that much. It's a 22% tax based on what they say the value is. So let's say it was a $10,000 car, you might have a couple $100 in tax. So it's not going to be that much. You don't have to worry about it. We did an interview recently with two people that drove to Panama, and they both talked about what the tax was on their car. I think one person paid $1,300 in their import tax, and the other person had an older vehicle, and theirs was like $600 for the import tax. And anytime you drive a vehicle into Panama, it does have to be re-registered as a Panama vehicle within 30 days of arriving. So make sure you know what the rules are for getting your car here. And Susan says, if I'm coming for a private tour next week, should I meet with an immigration lawyer if I'm not sure if I might move there? I wouldn't recommend it. It's not necessary to meet with an immigration attorney. You can easily, they'll do a video conference call or they'll do a phone call with you if you decide Panama is right for you. But since you're only going to be here for a private tour next week, don't take up an hour visiting with an immigration attorney. Instead, use that time to explore this beautiful country and determine if Panama is right for you. On our Panama Relocation Tours, the statistics are that 67% of the people that come on our tours move here within 1 year. But that also means that about 30% of the people don't move here within 1 year. Some people might move in 2 years, but some people, they get here and they say, this Panama thing, it's just not right for me. There's no Walmart. How can I possibly live here? Or, it doesn't have this, or I don't think I can live that far away from my grandchildren. So you won't know if Panama is right for you until you come and check it out, either during our all-inclusive 6-day, 7-night Panama Relocation Tours or a private tour, or just come on your own and check it out. But you won't know if Panama is right for you until you see it. Statistics are 67% of the people say I'm in, and they're here within a year. There's probably another 10% that move within 2 years. But there's some people that say it's just not right for me. So already did that question. Let me scroll on down here to some new ones. Hold on. Can expats get their taxes done in Panama as well as the United States? So first of all, you're not going to have any taxes in Panama unless you're selling products or services. So you don't have to pay any Panama taxes or file any Panama tax returns. But if you're a U.S. citizen and you want to get your tax returns done, there are some CPAs that live in Panama that can do your tax returns. There's also companies like Greenback Tax or Bright Tax that can do your taxes. And there's something called TurboTax where you can do your taxes yourself online and file it all online. If you do not plan to drive or not able to renew your driver's license, does Panama have ID cards like the state? So Panama does have an ID card, but it's not a driver's license. The ID card is called a Sedula, which is a national ID card. So if someone asked to see your ID, like for a pensionado discount, you would never show your driver's license, you'd show your Sedula. And that is the ID card that you use. Scroll down here, some other ones. Can you speak about the infrastructure issues some more, plumbing and electrical? So most places in Panama, there are no infrastructure issues. The roads are pretty good. There's going to be some areas with potholes, some areas that have dirt roads, but the main roads are going to be in good condition. Plumbing is in good condition. At the end of the dry season, especially in areas where it's really hot, there could be very low water pressure or even no water coming out from the municipality to your house. So that's why we recommend that everybody has a reserve water tank at your rental or condo. Condos have a reserve water tank, but if you're renting, make sure it has a reserve water tank so you're always going to have water and you won't have a problem. The electricity is going to go out every once in a while. The electricity went out for 15 minutes yesterday here at my house. But it's just, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't usually go out for 2, 3, 4 hours. It's usually 15, 20 minutes that it's going to be out. And Michael wants to know, do you need prescriptions for common medications like antibiotics or cholesterol meds? Or can you get what you ask for from the pharmacy just for the asking? So you don't need a prescription for any medications except for antibiotics and narcotics. Those are the two things that you need a prescription for. You can go to any doctor for about $15 to visit the doctor, and they'll give you a prescription for what they need if they think you need it. But as far as high blood pressure, cholesterol, insulin, things like that, you don't need a prescription for that. And Deborah, when is the next PRT meetup? We'll be in Panama the 29th of April to the 29th of May. You know, I haven't set the date yet for the next PRT meetup. It's usually the third Thursday of the month, but I need to look at my calendar and see when that is. And I'll post the information on our private Facebook group on when that's going to be. You definitely want to go. You should try to go to one of the PRT meetups. You're going to meet so many people and hear conversations about why they moved, where they live, how they find their rental, how they got their car, how they got their pets here. So it's a whole education. Plus, you'll be able to connect with people that you came on a tour with if you came on a tour. I'm Panamanian. If my husband moves back with me, what automatic benefits does he get? So your husband doesn't get any benefits at all just because he's married to you. Your husband's going to have to get a residency visa, and he has several different choices. He can get a residency visa because he's married to a Panamanian. That'll take about 2 years for him to get his permanent visa. If he's retired and has a lifetime pension of at least $1,000 a month, he could apply for the pensionado visa. And once he gets his permanent visa, then he would get the pensionado discounts. But just because he's married to a Panamanian, he doesn't automatically get any benefits at all. So he needs to decide which way that he wants to go about applying for a visa. And Chuck says, if teaching online from Panama to the US, will I need a work permit? You will not need a work permit unless you're teaching to people in Panama. But if you're teaching online to people outside of Panama, then you're not going to need a work permit. So I know that there's some of you still have a question that I haven't gotten to yet, and I could do this whole thing for 2 or 3 hours, but the problem is that the replay would be too long for a lot of people to listen to. So next Saturday, because we still have so many questions, next Saturday, I'm going to go ahead and do another live stream that's going to be just about answering your questions because we have so many questions. If you have a burning question, you can't wait until next Saturday, please send an email to info@PanamaRelocationTours.com, and I'll be glad to answer your question there. I want to thank everybody so much for being here for our Saturday live stream. We have 440 people on our live stream. That's great. And I hope that all of you will check out that opening that we have for the May 31st through June 7th tour. That's your next chance to be able to come on a Panama relocation tour. Other than that, we're sold out until July the 19th. So get signed up for that May 31st tour. The great thing about coming on the tour, you're going to get to meet me. I either go to the farewell dinner or I'll go to the meet and greet that we have. Usually it's the farewell dinner. So I'll get to meet you and we can talk about your plans, and I can offer some extra advice for you besides the advice that you're going to get from the tour guides on the tour. So I look forward to seeing many of you here in Panama, either on a Panama relocation tour or one of our next meetups that we have. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.